Hello, everybody. Today we are continuing complex trinomial factoring. So go back to it's the same note as before, but we're going to go to the part where it says remove a common factor and do those examples first. So again, the first step when you are doing decomposition is to recognize that something is, in fact, where's my pen? A complex trinomial. I don't have it plugged in. Sorry, let me just do this. So the first thing to do is take a look at this trinomial and recognize that it is in fact complex. What makes it complex is that we have an a value other than 1, okay? So yes, that is a complex trinomial. Then we want to remove any common factors. So this is the step that didn't exist before. But now we notice that we have a common factor between these, and it is 2. So if we take out 2, when we factor it out, we get 8x squared plus 13x minus 6. Okay, so now it says ensure it is still a complex trinomial. Okay, if it's a simple trinomial, we can do what we did before. But this a value is still not 1, so this is complex. So as we're factoring this, the 2 will remain outside. It is part of our factoring, okay, and part of our final answer, but it won't affect our decisions, like when we get down here, what to multiply and add to. Okay, it's just it's common factoring, so it's part of the factoring process, but now it doesn't affect our decomposition. So we need 2 numbers that multiply to 8 times -6, right? We take our a value and our c value. So that is -48, and 2 numbers that add to 13. So again, the best way to do this is to just think about numbers that multiply to 48 and then see if there's a positive and a negative of those that get to 13. So 1 and 48, that doesn't work. 2 and 24, those aren't 13 apart. 3 and 16 though. 16 times 3. So if you're not sure what these numbers are, just take 48 and divide it, by 2, by 3 in your calculator until you get to something. Now, this works because they're 13 apart, okay? For a number, for a multiple, for a product to be negative, one of the numbers has to be negative. So because these are 13 apart, I know that 16 minus 3 will work. Okay, so the number is 16 and -3. That multiplies to -48, and then 16 plus -3, or 16 minus 3, adds to 13. So remember, I want to put numbers next to each other that make the most sense. So the 2 stays out here, and then I start with my 8x squared, and here's where I decompose the middle term. So instead of 13x, I do 16x minus 3x. Okay, that is the middle term decomposed. And then I have my subtract 6. Notice I put the 16 first because it will common factor nicely with 8. And then I did the -3. It will common factor nicely with 6. And I can close my bracket. Again, and notice the 2 stays out there. So now my next step is to common factor in 2 different groups. Okay. So I keep my 2, and then I'm going to put a large square bracket. So from these 2, I can take out an 8x, and I'm left with x plus 2. Now, careful here with this. This is often confusing for people with the negatives. I'm taking out a -3, and that leaves me left with, think about it, -3x divided by -3 is just x. And then -6 divided by -3 is plus 2. Okay, so there's a few different ways I know I did this correctly. First of all, you can think about foiling back. -3 times x and -3 times 2 gets me back to -3x minus 6. Another way of checking that you're right is that if you decompose properly, these factors should be the same. So now we can common factor them. Okay, so just be really careful with negatives. Again, common factoring out a number means that you're dividing. So this is just the division of minus 3x divided by minus 3. And this is just the division of minus 6 divided by minus 3 to get to the plus 2. All right, so then I have my 2 on the outside and my x plus 2, which was common factored out, and then my 8x minus 3. So that is fully factored. So I can FOIL to make sure that I get back to the original. So when I FOIL, I expand these two brackets first and then distribute all the way through. So I would get 8x squared minus 3x plus 16x minus 6. So if I collect like terms, I'd get 8x squared plus 13x minus 6. And then I would distribute the 2 through 16x squared plus 26x minus 12, which is the same as my original. Okay, so please do the next 2 on your own. Okay, in both of these cases, you will remove a common factor first. And then remember to make sure it is still a complex trinomial. If it is not a complex trinomial, when you common factor out a number, then you just can, and if it then is a simple trinomial, then you can use your simple trinomial factoring method. If you forget what that is, go back to your previous note. It's much simpler than decomposition. Okay, now let's go back and do trinomials with 2 variables. So in this case, we have an x squared, an xy, and a y squared. So you could have like an a squared, an ab, and then a b squared, or it could be a p squared and a pq and a q squared with numbers in front. All right, so that's kind of the type of question this is getting at. So I have like a kind of a cheater way of doing this. Just excuse me. Where what I do is I actually take out one of the variables. Okay, so I will rewrite this as 10x squared minus 3x minus 4. So I honestly just take out anything with y. All right, that's basically what I did. I'm going to erase that though. And then later, I'm going to add the y back in at the end. Okay, so I'm going to factor it as if this is my factoring question, and you'll see how the y gets back. All right, so then I'm just looking at 2 numbers that multiply to negative 40 and add to negative 3. So that would be negative 8 and positive 5. That works. Okay, so then I would do 10x squared. I'm going to do the 5 first because it goes better with 10. So plus 5x minus 8x minus 4. All right, group the first 2 terms together. I can take out a 5x and I'm left with x plus 1. And here I can take out a minus 4. Oh, sorry, this was 2x plus 1. And I'm left with 2x plus 1. Okay, and then I can common factor, so 2x plus 1, 5x minus 4. Now, all I have to do to make sure I've included the y is put a y with the second term. That's all I have to do. And in this case, I actually don't need the 1. So it's really just 2x plus y, 5x minus 4y. So I'm kind of ignoring these steps. It's basically the same thing. I'm just adding in the y at the end. Okay, and if you FOIL this, it works. So 2x times 5x is 10x squared. And then this is 2x times negative 4y gets minus 20y. Sorry, minus 8y, and then plus 5xy. Sorry, I should just write this out. I should write the FOILing out. So you get 10x squared minus 8xy plus 5xy minus 4y squared, which then gets you to your original. So that is the way I recommend doing it, is to just take out the second variable and then add it back with the second term in your binomial at the end of your factoring. All right, so here is a practice one for you. Again, please do that. I will take it up in class. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you learned lots.